Rik Mayall, born Richard Michael Mayall on March 7, 1958, in Harlow, Essex, England, was a comedic force of nature whose irreverent humor and larger-than-life personality redefined the landscape of British comedy. Mayall's work was marked by a unique blend of anarchic energy, biting satire, and fearless physical comedy that pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable on television. He became one of the most beloved and influential comedians of his generation, leaving an indelible mark on the world of entertainment. Mayall's journey into comedy began at a young age, growing up in a household that was steeped in the arts. His parents, John and Gillian Mayall, were both drama teachers, and their passion for theater and performance naturally influenced their son. Even as a child, Rik was drawn to the world of make-believe, and he quickly developed a talent for making people laugh. However, no one could have predicted that this mischievous boy would one day become a comedy legend whose work would inspire generations of comedians. Mayall's upbringing in the creative environment of his parents' drama school in Droitwich, Worcestershire, set the stage for his future career. He was introduced to the world of performance from a young age, participating in plays and skits that allowed him to explore his burgeoning comedic instincts. However, his path to stardom was not without its challenges. As a young man, Mayall struggled to fit in at school, often finding himself at odds with authority figures and school rules. It was during these formative years that he began to develop the rebellious spirit that would later define his comedy. After completing his primary education, Mayall attended King's School in Worcester, where he met Adrian Edmondson, a fellow student with a similar passion for comedy and performance. The two quickly became inseparable, bonding over their shared love of humor and their disdain for the rigid structures of traditional education. Their friendship would become one of the most important partnerships in British comedy, leading to some of the most iconic comedic performances of the 20th century. In the 1970s, Mayall and Edmondson both enrolled at the University of Manchester, where they studied drama and began performing in the city's vibrant comedy scene. It was here that Mayall began to hone his craft, developing the distinctive style that would later make him famous. His performances were characterized by their manic energy, sharp wit, and a willingness to embrace the absurd. He quickly gained a reputation as a fearless performer, unafraid to take risks and push the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in comedy. The late 1970s and early 1980s marked the beginning of a new era in British comedy, known as alternative comedy. This movement was a reaction against the traditional, often conservative humor that had dominated British television for decades. Alternative comedy was raw, edgy, and often politically charged, challenging societal norms and tackling taboo subjects with a boldness that was both refreshing and controversial. At the forefront of this movement was Rik Mayall, whose work epitomized the spirit of rebellion and innovation that defined alternative comedy. Mayall's big break came in 1982 with the creation of The Young Ones, a groundbreaking sitcom that he co-wrote with his university friend Ben Elton. The Young Ones was unlike anything that had been seen on British television before. The show followed the lives of four dysfunctional students, Rick, Vivian, Neil, and Mike, living together in a squalid house. Each character represented a different facet of British youth culture, with Mayall's character, Rick, embodying the pretentious and self-absorbed attitudes of a wannabe revolutionary. The Young Ones was a chaotic blend of slapstick comedy, surrealism, and biting social commentary. It was loud, brash, and unapologetically irreverent, capturing the disillusionment and frustration of a generation. Mayall's portrayal of Rick, with his exaggerated sense of self-importance and his constant proclamations of rebellion, became an instant hit with audiences. The show's success catapulted Mayall to stardom and established him as one of the leading figures in the alternative comedy movement. The success of The Young Ones opened the door to a series of new opportunities for Mayall, who quickly became known for his ability to create unforgettable characters that were both hilarious and deeply reflective of the world around him. In 1985, he teamed up with Adrian Edmondson once again for Filthy Rich and Catflap, a sitcom that satirized the seedy underbelly of the entertainment industry. Although it was not as commercially successful as The Young Ones, the show further demonstrated Mayall's talent for combining humor with social critique. Mayall's next major project, The New Statesman, marked a significant departure from his earlier work. Premiering in 1987, the show followed the exploits of Alan Beastard, a ruthless and corrupt Conservative MP who epitomized the greed and cynicism of 1980s British politics. Mayall's portrayal of Beastard was both hilarious and chilling, capturing the essence of a man who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. The show was a critical and commercial success, earning Mayall widespread acclaim and solidifying his reputation as one of the most versatile and daring comedians of his time. Throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, Mayall continued to push the boundaries of comedy with a series of projects that showcased his unique blend of physical humor and sharp wit. One of his most beloved creations during this period was Bottom, a sitcom that he co-wrote and starred in alongside Adrian Edmondson. The show followed the misadventures of Richie and Eddie, two down and out, perpetually angry men living in a grimy London flat. Bottom was a perfect vehicle for Mayall's brand of comedy, combining slapstick humor with dark, often absurdist, scenarios. The show's success led to a series of live stage performances, where Mayall and Edmondson took their characters to new levels of outrageousness. The live shows were known for their unpredictability, with Mayall and Edmondson often improvising and pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable on stage. Fans of Bottom were treated to a wild, anarchic experience that perfectly captured the essence of Mayall's comedic genius. Despite his success, Rik Mayall's life was not without its struggles. Behind the scenes, he faced a series of personal challenges that took a toll on his mental and physical health. The pressures of fame, combined with the demands of his high-energy performances, began to weigh heavily on him. Mayall was known for his intense work ethic and his commitment to his craft, but this often came at a cost. In 1998, Mayall's life took a dramatic turn when he was involved in a serious accident while riding a quad bike on his farm in Devon. The accident left him in a coma for several days, and his family and fans feared the worst. Miraculously, Mayall recovered, but the experience had a profound impact on him. He later described the accident as a near-death experience that changed his outlook on life, making him more reflective and appreciative of the things that truly mattered. The accident left Mayall with lasting physical effects, including occasional memory lapses and a reduced sense of balance. However, he remained determined to continue working, returning to the stage and screen with the same passion and energy that had defined his earlier career. Despite his resilience, it was clear that the accident had taken a toll on him, both physically and emotionally. In the years following the accident, Mayall's output slowed down as he focused more on his family and personal life. He continued to work sporadically, taking on roles in television, film, and theater, but the frenetic pace of his earlier years was no longer sustainable. Mayall remained a beloved figure in the comedy world, with fans eagerly anticipating each new project, but there was a sense that he was no longer the indestructible force of nature he had once been. On June 9, 2014, the world was shocked by the sudden death of Rik Mayall at the age of 56. The news of his passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, with fans and colleagues alike struggling to come to terms with the loss of such a unique and influential talent. The cause of death was later determined to be a heart attack, likely related to the health issues he had been dealing with since his quad bike accident. Mayall's death marked the end of an era in British comedy. He was remembered not just as a brilliant comedian, but as a trailblazer who had revolutionized the art of comedy with his fearless approach and his ability to challenge conventions. Tributes poured in from across the globe, with many of his contemporaries expressing their admiration for his work and their sadness at his passing. Adrian Edmondson, Mayall's longtime friend and collaborator, paid a particularly poignant tribute, describing him as a quiet, kind man with a huge talent. Edmondson's words captured the essence of Mayall's dual nature, his larger-than-life stage persona contrasted with the gentle, caring individual he was in private life.